Okay, everybody, hello. This is, what is this? This is a bad movie podcast. My name is Michael. I'm one of your hosts, and who might you be, 3,000 miles away?
My name is Trevor. I'm the other host.
Alrighty. Again, off top, this is bad movie podcast, but it's a little different. This is not going to be the usual bad movie podcast you listen to where it's like, oh, we're going to talk about Madam Web, or, oh, The Room. Don't you love The Room, everybody? One of the ideas we have in this podcast is we're going to talk about movies nobody really talks about or anybody remembers. We're covering this movie specifically as our first one because I guess we should just talk about why, you and I are talking a brief history. We've been friends now for about 8 years. We met each other on a job site. It was a commercial sort of like movie trailer house. I think we're allowed to say what it was because like the company no longer exists, which probably helps quite a bit.
Yes, it went under about 2 years after we started working there, so...
Yes, just like all LA ventures, it lasts forever. Great career path when you're in Los Angeles. But yeah, we kind of got along real well because we realized, hey, we like a lot of the similar things, especially when it comes to shit. Essentially, we love bad things. Originally,
Some
I think
more than others.
among others. But I think I showed you stuff like bad pro wrestling because I'm a pro wrestling fan. We were watching commercials and whatnot, and then. Eventually we could say either you were smart or a coward. You decided to leave Los Angeles, so you kind of disappeared after a bit. But then that silly thing called the coronavirus happened, and we were both bored out of our minds. We kind of met up again online, and then we're like, hey, we got this magical thing called Discord, so why don't we start watching stuff and just chatting again? So that's what we were doing during the pandemic. And, at a certain point, we were like, there's got to be, like, some good movies. I guess you, Trevor, you could explain a little bit. You kind of started this trend because you were focusing on movies that I've never even heard of when I started this venture with you.
Yes, because the thing is, when it comes to most famous bad movies, like The Room and others, the biggest problem I have with so many of them is the fact that a lot of the times the only bad thing about them is just the writing and the acting, maybe. Typically, those are the only... Like, The Room is a bad movie, not necessarily on a technical standpoint, but more so because of the bad writing and acting. And, it's funny to watch actors deliver bad lines and everything like that, but I'm way more interested, personally, in movies where everything is kind of inept and bad, or bad in very kind of unique and interesting ways, which bingo is certainly the case there.
Yes, I agree with you though. Like when it's just bad writing or bad acting, that's one thing. I think what we'll find out when we do more of this show, or just at least our history together, it's like we have watched some movies that I don't even think like the people that created them know just what they were making at the time. They just rolled the camera and then I don't even know if the editor knew what to do. So there's a lot of that type of situation when it comes to watching these bad movies. But I believe this was around 2022. So again, we recorded in the pandemic, but a little bit towards the tail end. I'm pretty sure this was your idea. You found out about this movie called Bingo. So, and I'm like,
Yes.
I'm a dog person. I'm kind of surprised you selected this because you're not a dog person. Famously so, between the two of us. You were not. You,
Yes, I hate dogs. I want to put that at the top. I hate dogs. Always have my entire life, because they put me in the hospital twice. I don't get along with them. They seem to hate me, and so I'm more of a cat person.
Your mistake was to put peanut butter all over your body. Was your first mistake.
No one told me that was a problem, but I did it anyways.
I mean, God, you had a nut allergy too. I don't even know why you did that. Anyway, out of the two of us, I am a dog person. That's maybe why you chose it a little bit, because I'll say yes to anything with dogs.
Yes.
But I was not prepared for just how insane this movie is. I have we stressed this when we first watched it. We stressed it during this rewatch to prepare ourselves for this first episode. And funny enough, I took notes already. So this is the third time I've seen this movie for this recording. So I'm just going to say it up the top. The first 15 minutes alone of this is so bonkers and could be its own movie. But this movie just go, 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 go. So, I guess with introductions out of the way, see, when we do this podcast, spoiler alert to those whoever riskfully, bravely downloaded this podcast, it's not going to be a weekly, maybe not even a bi-weekly thing. We're going to go...
Maybe not even a monthly. We're just going to find out.
This is going to be a yearly podcast, just talking about bingo.
This might be the only episode we ever release.
This will be on our obscure media in about 10 years on Reddit. But the idea for this is we're going out of the gate because this is just we go by this movie all the time. It's almost like a scale of 0 to bingo, just how crazy a movie is we've watched. And there's been some crazy ones, but this one takes the cake. It's one of our all-time favorites. So I guess just to get it out of the way, again, not going to probably do this all the time, maybe not recap by recap, but we would just want to let you experience what this movie is. It's on free for Tubi, FYI. We will champion this website, by the way, all the time whenever we get the chance. Tubi is the greatest.
If Tubi would like to sponsor us, I would gladly take... I would do it for free. You don't even have to pay me. We would absolutely love to do an ad read for Tubi.
We have no problem whoring ourselves out. Tubi, or I guess Fox in this case, because Fox technically owns Tubi. If you're listening, we will gladly put ads of Tubi just for free. Just give us the audio files, and I'll just put it in here randomly. We'll be in the middle of discussion, we'll just have a 60-second Tubi ad. I don't care. That's the only marketing I want to do on this podcast. None of this, hymn stuff. I want Tubi. Only Tubi.
Yes. I'll wear a Tubi t-shirt, but you can't even see it because it's just an audio medium.
Yeah. Well, we can't even do sign language because, it's an audio medium. So you're just going to have to believe it, people, that he is wearing a Tubi shirt at all times, even on his wedding day. I'm just going to start off. We're just going to talk about the origins of this movie. This is a 1991 TriStar release, directed by Matthew Robbins, a name no one's ever heard of because he's not a well-known name, but he's done classic B-movie, some bad, some good, like Dragon Slayer, Batteries Not Included, which is a great, fun, bad movie. But also, fun fact, he is a Del Toro guy because he has helped co-written a bunch of his projects, including Mimic, Crimson Peak, almost everything at a certain point, which... I will say, when you watch this movie, as crazy as it is, you would never guess that this dude is still making movies today with one of the best directors in Hollywood. And then another guy, the writer of this movie, Jim Strain, he has done a few movies you might have heard of, most notably the original Jumanji. So he's also credited for the characters, quote unquote, for the Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black remakes. So... don't worry about him. He worked hard for this movie to get into the business, but then he did Jumanji and just kept making that sweet, sweet Jumanji money for the next 30 years. And God, I wish I had that. I wish I had that sort of a situation. But anyway, that is a little bit of deep dive of what who were behind the cameras here. So I guess we'll just get started. The movie kind of opens up with some animated credits. Again, also very nice. I love seeing that. Nobody really does that these days with movies.
Very 90s kids movie.
It's a kids movie. Yes, we have to stress that this is a kids movie, quote unquote.
It's officially rated PG, just straight up PG, the MPAA.
Yes.
That's the rating that they somehow got to.
Well, I think as we go through this movie, especially towards the tail end, there's definitely some scenes deleted in this movie.
I think they probably had to rewrite their guidelines when they were rating this, and because there's a lot of dog-related stuff that they have definitely never seen before.
Well, just like back in the day when Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, it's like, God, you have these people getting their hearts ripped out. I guess we need a PG-13 rating. We didn't quite get that with Bingo. We didn't get anything in between PG-13 and R, which a lot of ways I think this is a PG-13 movie, but hey, this is 1991. We didn't care. Kids were more manly back then. They could handle such topics as dog sex and prostitution. But we'll get there. We're gonna get there to those scenes. So the opening scene is we see the origins of Bingo. He's with the traveling circus, which feels very Pee Wee Herman-esque, Big Top Pee Wee. There's a lot of like Pee Wee references I noticed watching this 3 times, which it could be coincidence or my brain's just melted from watching this 3 times. But Bingo is just a dog that helps like assist this traveling like poodle act that goes through fire question mark. It's very little. You don't really get an idea of what this act is other than this ring of fire segment that they got, which
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I tried looking up this movie. I don't know if the ASPCA was involved with this. I feel not, considering what happens in this movie, but I don't know. Part of the origin of Bingo is that we see a flashback because somehow Bingo has the idea of what flashbacks are. We see him in his memories. He somehow has memories, which I don't think dogs have. Actually, no, dogs do have memories because they can dream. So yeah, they this is scientifically accurate. Dogs can dream. Yeah, there's always, you can see videos like Reddit, YouTube, or whatever. It's like when you see dogs sleeping and they're like kicking around in their sleep, that's usually a sign that they're dreaming. That's I mean, I don't know all the science about it. It could be quackery, but I'm gonna choose to believe that dogs can dream. In this dream flashback that Bingo has while he's trying to do this flaming jump through a hoop act in the present day, we learn that Bingo is in like a pet shop that's on fire question mark. We don't really know why it's on fire. We don't know what's going on, but we sadly hilariously see that his Bingo's mother Taffy passes away due to smoke inhalation, which is kids movie, by the way. Yeah, kids movie, by the way. Kids movie.
Yes. The first, I think, 2 minutes, we have a dog die. So immediately we break the golden rule of Hollywood, where you don't show a dog die, and they just do in the first 2 minutes.
Yes, this is not like the Fox and the Hound. We do not the dogs will be in danger physically, mentally. A little bit of both, a lot actually in this movie.
Wait, I'm looking up. Does the dog die for this that website, and I want to see if they have it correct.
They might only focus on Bingo, but Taffy.
Ooh. They got it wrong. They say, "Does the dog?" The dog does not die. You think the dog gets blown up, but the dog doesn't. Well,
spoil alert. Let's not get there. We'll get to the explosive finale. But
it completely misses the mom, Taffy.
Taffy, yeah, because we know Taffy's dead because somehow the flashback goes a little flash forward, and we see a little kid Bingo just whimpering in front of this like cemetery plot where like. I'm confused. So who did this plot of like this very grand statue of Taffy with like a fountain?
Yes.
Who paid for
massive.
that?
It's like an old Confederate statue of like Christopher Columbus or something that they would have taken down by now, but it's just this giant dog.
Like
it's 20 feet tall.
I think only Lassie has like a statue like this in real life when it comes to like, memorializing dogs, But we go out of that flashback. Bingo does not do the flaming hoop trick. Remember that for later. Really remember that, by the way, because the movie makes you forget that for the majority of the runtime. But later on, one of the two owners, the male, I don't have the character names for the most part, because the character names don't really matter outside of Bingo and a couple of the family, but... the one circus performer wants to shoot the dog dead. So, again, 5 minutes into the movie, we've seen a dog death and a dog almost getting shot by a sniper rifle, which is great.
Yes. Because Bingo won't go through fire due to his PTSD, the circus owner, whatever, is just like, yep, the dog's gotta die. I'm gonna kill this thing because it just refuses to do something it's never been trained to do in its life.
And also, I should say, by the way, again, this owner has like poodles as part of the act, so I don't know how poodles are able to go through fire because they do not have the bone structure like this border collie lab mix that this Bingo dog is to go have through the fire. So, but we do see the poodle have like a huge nail in its paw. So, like, what is going on in this circus.
Yeah,
There's
it must
a
have
lot
done
of
something
animal abuse.
more than just going through fire. It must be doing some, like, I don't know, juggling nails act or something.
I don't get it. This circus act has like international acts, like an Indian. We assume Indian. It looks like a man in brown face, which is great. You know, you want that in your kids' movie. But on a bed of nails, and you got like the bearded lady and whatnot. But it feels more
World's
local.
fattest man.
World's fattest man. That would have been me. But this is '91. I was a very fat baby in '91. But yeah, so in the scuffle, the bingo escapes and just decides to just run away. So this owner is long gone. Or are they? Just remember that when I introduce these characters, you may or may not see them later in the movie. But we get introduced to our male lead, which is this kid named Chucky, with his big brother Chicky, which, you know, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll talk about the family now. We got Chucky and Chicky, and we got the Natalie, which is the mom, Cindy Williams, not, I don't know, hugely famous, but famous. What am I talking about? See, I'm young enough, but I do have an old man brain. I should remember this. She was Shirley from the TV show Laverne and Shirley back in the 70s. So big deal in the 70s. So I guess that's your one big quote unquote actor in this movie. Because I guess I should say right away, a lot of like B-level or like character actors in this movie. There's no real celebrity. There's no A-listers, I should say.
No.
And
there's no one on the top billing.
No, there's really no top billing here. This is like Bingo is top billing. Don't you forget.
Yes.
I mean, we talked about this during the movie. How do you feel about movies where it's more character actors or B-level acts than a Brad Pitt?
Yeah, I don't care for them. I never recognize or care about character actors. Like I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head that I really tend to care about. Unless it's like, I don't know, Bill Hader just doing a goofy voice. That's the only kind of character actor I can really handle.
Yeah, I mean, I love character actors. I like seeing them. I do like recognizing. I guess it's not a coin.
So isn't every actor a character actor? They're all playing characters. I know that's what a nonsense phrase.
Nobody's real. Nobody's real in this universe we call Hollywood or Hollyweird. Am I right?
That's like the term genre films. Every film is a genre of some kind. It makes no sense to me.
Well, there's a certain genre type of this movie, which we'll get to in a second while we're introducing the family. But we have Chucky just tried to impress his big brother and friends. They're mountain biking through the forest of what we know now is Colorado as we go later in the movie. But this kid just eats shit. He tries to jump this like little bridge that's broken down, like a natural ramp, and this kid just falls face first into the river.
And his brother, and I'm assuming brother's friend, it has very much energy of like, you know, when the little brother's hanging out with his brother's, you know, older brother and their friends, and you're like kind of the odd one out. They are just like, you know, 100 feet up ahead, and they don't give a shit that his brother is lying unconscious in a river right now.
Yes, as we find out in a little bit, the dad also doesn't care, but again, we'll get to that in 2 seconds. But yeah, this kid's just presumed dead. If he's not dead, he's certainly drowning, because his face, it's kind of like Bruce Willis, spoiler alert, at the end of Glass, is just inch deep in water. That's enough to drown somebody. So
yes, his mouth is being clogged and his nose, so he is currently dying.
He should be dying, but Bingo, because this Bingo dog is a genius dog, question mark, not really, but like Bingo not only drags Chucky out of the river, but he takes all of his clothes off, including his underwear. I guess we do see him perform a sweet CPR move by jumping high in the air and hitting him right in the chest, or landing on him in the chest, I should say. And Chucky wakes up, he discovers he's naked, which I would be very concerned with, even as an 8-year-old kid, or however old this kid's supposed to be. But he starts putting his clothes back on, he discovers Bingo, and they become great friends until, oh no, 13 minutes in the movie, I should say, a huge bear shows up out of nowhere and threatens both of them.
A real bear. They got a real bear on set and everything. And there's even a shot where the bear is in the same frame as the kid, which, I mean, sure, it's a maybe it can be a trained bear or something, but like, good lord, I would not trust that. For a little kid to be on, and a dog. Like the dog is also scared shitless of this giant bear too.
Like, and all I kept thinking about with this scene is just Herzog going to Cindy Williams and being like, "You must never listen to this tape."
Yeah, I would have. This would have made a lot more interesting of a movie if there was bear death.
I think this movie would. I wouldn't say better because we love this movie, but if Werner Herzog directed this movie, I think this movie would sing. It would be so good.
This is just the psyche of a dog.
Yeah, we get into the mind of Bingo. But they're able to climb up a tree and just pretty much distract the bear because, bears famously don't know how to climb trees. So, again, there is a cut of this movie where we just ended here early in 15 minutes and Chucky and Bingo are dead.
And I do think it was a black bear, which is like the friendly version of the bears. It's not the grizzly bear, so I guess maybe they're kind of safe in that regard.
Well, again, Herzog, grizzly man, that dude got eaten up by grizzly bears, brown bears.
Grizzly bears, not black bears.
Not black bears. But we'll get back to them in a minute because we're then smash cut to both the older son's back at home, Chicky. He's eating sweet 1990s KFC dinner with his mom and his dad.
Yes.
Should bring up, because we introduced the mom, Cindy Williams, the big brother, and the dad. His name's Hal. He's played by David Rashke, another gentleman that movie you've probably seen him in a billion things, mostly in the 80s and 90s. He was that kind of character actor. He is, for me, he's always the dude opposite of J.K. Simmons and Burn After Reading. He is the CIA guy that is...
That's him?
Yes, he is retelling the story, essentially, to J.K. Simmons. Which,
you know what, that finally clicked for me.
Yes, and he's been in a bunch of stuff. Like he's been in United 93, Men in Black 3. I'm looking at his IMDb. He's been on Veep. He's a solid character actor. If he shows up, and there's a couple of people in this movie like that. Like if he shows up, you're in icing for a good time. So yes, I agree with you. Probably need a big name actor here, but it's good that we got somebody like this.
Yeah, you need like Leonardo DiCaprio as a kid in this film or something.
He was too busy doing Gremlins 3 or whatever he was doing in 1991. I don't think he had time
Titanic?
to do Bingo.
Was he doing Titanic?
Well, this is 1991. That was 97. Titanic.
Okay, well, he could have been doing it around the same time.
Well, it took 6 years to make Titanic.
It took a long time to make Titanic, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, James Cameron was under the ocean probably for 80 years when he was making that movie. Yeah. But if I go on his IMDb, and I'm just gonna
Grape.
Eating Gilbert's Grape. Was it Gilbert Grape around this time? Let's see here, because IMDb is great because it takes forever. No, he was doing he was doing Critters 3. I made a joke, but he was doing Critters 3, and then he started like his big break with Growing Pains as the kid actor there. And then What's Eating Gilbert's Grape came out 2 years later in 93. So I feel like Leo could have done this movie. I think you're right, but no. Instead, we got this kid who his name's Robert J. Steinmiller Jr. I'm sure he's a lovely man, but boy, he's just one of those annoying kid actors. So not the best representation of kid acting in this movie. I think. Oh my god. And look at his IMDb. This is his like one and only like real leading role, so didn't work out for old Steinmiller.
Now. We should have sent him an email or something and get him on here.
Well, we're thinking about that. Eventually we would love to get somebody who's alive, first of all, because I didn't know this. I completely forgot. Cindy Williams, R.I.P. She died 2 years ago in 2023, so I don't think this was her last memories. I don't think she was on that bed thinking about Bingo in her last thoughts.
Oh, God, no.
Or maybe she was. I don't know. Maybe this was a good time for her. But anyway, going back to David Rashke, the dad, Hal, he is a NFL pro kicker for 1991. He is with the Denver Broncos. And Trevor, how do we know that he is a football player? What subtlety do they do, the writing of this movie by Mr. Jim Strain, to let you know he's an NFL pro kicker?
Well, you see, every single piece of furniture, every single fixture, and every single square inch of their house is literally covered in some sort of Broncos memorabilia.
Yes, to the point where I think like even the mom is wearing like Broncos gear. Like
Yeah, the children are constantly wearing like the sports uniforms and stuff like that, like to school and everything.
but like
There's just so much.
it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I would love my dad if he was an NFL player, but like he's also a kicker, so who gives a shit? Especially in '91, there was no big name kickers in '91, not that I know of anyway. But also another saying with the dad, we can count how many fetishes are in this movie, but none bigger than Quentin Tarantino's old favorite, some bare feet, because Hal's kicking foot is always uncovered no matter what he's doing.
Yes.
He could be walking around the house, which is normal, but he could be driving to work. He could be in the middle of like some restaurant. He could just be doing anything, and he always has a bare foot out, which I feel like is not safe when you're an NFL kicker. You should probably protect your foot more.
Yeah, he's gonna get like a cut, and he's gonna get an infection on his foot, and they're gonna have to amputate it, I really don't understand the logic behind why he has to be barefoot all the time.
I mean, it's comedy, right? You're just laughing every second when it comes to that. So after we get some shenanigans. Again, we're gonna try not to do this frame by frame, so I'll speed up a little bit. So we have some little like montage shenanigans of like the dog Bingo doing things like getting into the mom's makeup, pooping in the driveway so they could comically slip on it.
Yes,
but
slips on it with his raw foot.
Yes, which can't be good. So now that foot just stinks. Like, and considering how much toe play him and the wife get involved, I would tell him to wash up before we do any of that nonsense.
A lot.
There's a lot of footsie. Again, I think Tarantino put a pass on this script, so eventually we learn that Hal is being traded again, allegedly. So it's confusing because he's apparently a good kicker, but he keeps getting traded, which I don't think that's how that works, even in 1991 NFL logic. I think they would just keep the kickers around, but he gets traded to the Green Bay Packers. So, oh no, Chucky has to leave without Bingo. He tries to put him in a Looney Tunes-esque box with holes in it, but wouldn't you know it, Bingo he just wants to fuck. So he just goes to the next door neighbor's Cocker Spaniel with some champagne, and they just get it on. So he is too tired and too drunk to get in the car, and this is going to be a lot of the plot point for the rest of the movie is Bingo going cross country to find Chucky and the family.
Yes, and that there's so many jokes in this, like Bingo having sex and drinking, where they're, when you make a kids movie, you're supposed to have some jokes for the mom and the dad in the audience so that they don't feel so bored out of their minds watching this. But practically every joke in this seems like it's for the adults. There's not too many like just actual kid jokes in this.
No, again, it would stresses us where it's like, was this originally meant to be like a rated R movie or something, like a parody movie of these kind of dog movies? But I don't think so. I think this is always meant to be a kids movie, which again, like you said, makes all this stuff all the more baffling as the movie keeps going and they find more sexual innuendo jokes or just like violence upon violence on this animal. The tone is just all over the place when we watch this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes, which is what makes it so interesting and unique to me.
Yes. So we see a little bit of montage of Bingo starting his trip. We do know how scientifically Bingo is able to follow Chucky the rest of the way, is that Chucky is literally pissing all over America So Bingo can just sniff his way with that DNA to find Chucky. And the first big major spot that Bingo discovers that his family stops at is Duke's hot dog stand, which is essentially a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 setting where
Yes.
Duke is legit using dog in its name. He is grinding up, killing and grinding up dogs to make his world famous hot dogs, which include like your standard fare hot dogs that you know and love, and then also like a Chinese dog, which is essentially chicken lo mein on top of a hot dog, which
Yes. Which, I mean, I'm going to be honest, it looks kind of good, actually, I think. I think that could work.
I think that could work too, but the way it's just put together, it's just like the prop person's just like, okay, I went to, the Chinese place around the corner and just dumped some of my lunch noodles onto the hot dog. I guess that's good enough for Cindy Williams.
Yeah, and we never show her actually, well, they never show her actually eating the hot dog, so
No.
who knows? Maybe, maybe that's what she was thinking about
Well,
at the end of her life.
as some of you may know, or you're going to learn now, so when you have to eat in a scene, whether it's TV or movie, you kind of have to restart. So, yeah, if I'm Cindy Williams, I do not want to eat that over and over again until we get the right takes.
8 chicken lo mein hot dogs.
My favorite. Well, that's a lot of protein, at least. So,
Cindy Williams needs that protein.
well, eventually Bingo finds his way to Duke's. He gets captured by Duke. There's a there's a couple actual good jokes along the way in this movie. I like this one where all the dogs, it's not just Bingo now, all the dogs are sentient enough to realize that they need to use mirrors to make sure Duke is not coming in to see Bingo try to escape and get everybody out of the cage. But eventually Duke does grab Bingo. However, all the cages are eventually open up. It's very convoluted how we get to this point, but the dogs all escape. They corner Duke and I assume his wife. It's like a waitress, but I assume it's his wife as well. And then they just somehow, we don't see this. Scenes deleted. A lot of scenes deleted. But these dogs just put these guys in a cage. You think Bingo's driving this truck. He's not. The dogs are pushing the truck. And then Duke and his wife just gets pushed right into their like little makeshift like restaurant, and like the whole thing collapses. Sadly, does not explode. We don't have our
I was
explode.
gonna say it's really sad that the whole restaurant doesn't go up in a fireball, because that would have been really great.
But we might have a fireball a little bit later. So they might have saved the budget for a little later in the movie.
Yeah, they had the budget for one explosion, and they saved it for the right moment, I suppose.
Yes, they do. They do save it when it's appropriate. I don't know if just this truck kind of lately tapping into the stand means an explosion, but you know what? We've seen our fair share of movies where explosions just make no sense, but they had the budget, they had to do it. So we meet our essentially bad guys of the movie, such as they are. They're two bumbling idiots.
The wet bandits.
Yeah, yeah, totally. No, dude. They're totally different. They have nothing to do with that. It's not like those two movies came out.
It's not like there's one tall guy and one short guy.
No, absolutely not. This is Lenny.
It's a different dynamic duo.
This is Lenny and Eli. Eli is another character actor. I'm not familiar with him, but he has been in a bunch of stuff. Lenny is probably next to Cindy Williams and David Rashke is another big quote-unquote star. It is Kurt Fuller, who is that dude you have seen in so many 80s and 90s movies. He's in Ghostbusters 2, The Running Man, recently like stuff like Midnight in Paris. I guess he's a main character on that CBS show Evil. People tell me that show's good. I've never seen it. But, he also seems to debase himself for the movie Sound of Freedom, but we won't talk about that. But if you know who this guy is, if you just Google Kurt Fuller, you have seen him in a movie or TV show. So these two guys, apparently they had their own sequence in the movie Heat where they stole from an armored car. And then we notice, because they take Bingo in, that they just kidnapped a family in an RV. So...
They don't show them stealing the armored car, right?
No, again, this is not like Heat. We don't see the meticulous planning, and it's not like Val Kilmer, R.I.P., where, Lenny shoots up the guards and everything, and they take all the money. We don't see that. We just assume that they did it.
Yes. because they keep mentioning they're the armored car bandits, but you never see them steal an armored car. So I'm always just like, what are you talking about? We don't really. We're just taking your word for it, I guess.
Yeah, and they're such bumbling idiots. Again, they're nothing like the guy. They're nothing like Joe Pesci from the Home Alone series. They're totally original characters, and they're not bumbling at all whatsoever. But eventually, what we find to learn that Bingo, even though they take him in as a stray at first because they like him, Lenny is kind of like the more nicer of the two, which kind of evolves in the movie to something different. But either way, Bingo realizes what's going on because he's sentient somehow. He's able to get out of the RV, go to a payphone, and is able to, through Morse code, tell the 911 dispatcher, hey, bring all the cops because these two armored car bandits have a family hold up. Which, pretty impressive. I've never seen that in a movie before.
Yes, this is the smartest dog. He's somehow both the dumbest dog and the smartest dog at the same time.
Yes, and eventually Bingo gets the family to escape because the cops are out. I love in this scene that Eli just points his God Killer Magnum at this little girl, and I'm like, oh god, are we going to see this lady girl's like assault on Precinct 13, just brain matter all over the RV? Luckily, we don't see that. They escape. But what we get one of like 3 or 4 instances in this movie where all cops are bad. Lenny and Eli try to use Bingo as a hostage, but the cops with AR-15s, like this is Fortnite, just shoot up this RV real good like Swiss cheese.
Yes, they shoot like 100 bullets into this RV, knowing that there's just like an innocent dog in there that's gonna get shot by a stray. But also, speaking of the cops, because we didn't mention this before, after, Bingo gets drunk and fucks this poodle, Bingo runs into the middle of traffic, and a traffic cop essentially pulls him over and gives him a sobriety test.
Yes, and we get this cute little scene where Bingo can stand on its hind legs and walk a straight line and everything. My apologies, I missed that. If you can't tell, viewers, there is so much happening in this movie and so much craziness that you just kind of skip scenes.
I have a giant list of notes, and we've skipped a couple because there's too much to talk about. We can't
There's
make like a 5-hour podcast. But
no, we don't want this to be a 5. I mean, we could do that. We could be a 5-hour like lengthy podcast.
We could study every frame of this.
Yes, maybe we will eventually do frame by frame of Bingo, which, boy, I don't see a lot of downloads for that. But if you were a dedicated listener, maybe once we get to the Patreon phase, like all podcasts do these days in the landscape, we'll do a Patreon where it's a 5-hour podcast of Bingo.
Yeah, giant video essay.
A video essay, yes, which you will edit because you know how to video edit. Anyway, so yes, so this is the second instance of all cops are bad, because that cop, if you remember, gives him like a little citation. Because even though he passed the test, he still gave him a citation, and the cop's like, I swear, if I see you again, I'll shoot you myself. Something to that effect. And I'm like,
he threatens to shoot the dog for no real reason. He didn't do anything at all.
No, there's a scene, yes, as we mentioned earlier with the circus performers at the very beginning, because they were going to shoot him with a sniper rifle. It's like, everybody except for Chucky hates this dog.
Yes.
Everybody.
And there's even a point where Chucky starts to hate the dog. So, normally in a kid's movie, in a cute little kid's movie like this, oh, the dog's great, everyone loves the dog. But no, everybody hates Bingo in this for some reason.
Yes, I mean, the dog is great for the most part. He just won't do a simple circus trick because it gives him Vietnam flashbacks to his kids' days. But yeah, just everybody hates the dog, wants to physically hurt the dog, wants to kill the dog, including wants to eat the dog. So I don't know. This might be a universe where all dogs are bad. Not all dogs go to heaven in Bingo, is what I'm saying.
Like, if you hate dogs, you're going to love this film.
Yes, and if you love dogs, you're
still going to love this film, actually.
Yes, actually, best of both worlds. If you're a cat person, you'll still love this movie.
Yes. There's no cats in this movie, though, now that I realize.
Yeah, there's really no other animals, I
think.
Not
a single cat. No. Yeah, there's no other animal. I mean, well, I guess at the beginning of the circus, there is like a horse.
Oh, right.
No, it's fully a dog movie.
Which, again, I'm all for. I'm sorry that your face got eaten up, but goddamn it, my face wasn't eaten up, so I will eat up all these dogs. Well, I'll eat up all these dogs. I'm not going to eat the dogs, especially
Yeah.
not these Chinese dogs. I'm not going to do that.
Oh man, that chicken. Well, it's funny though because the hot dogs they were eating are made of dogs, right?
Yes, that is implied.
So
They're eating
everyone
dogs.
there is eating just actual dogs.
Yes,
and no one seems to be complaining. So
no one's
it must taste pretty
complaining.
good.
And a little spoiler alert: these people do not get arrested for the clear animal abuse they're doing. This is not like certain countries that are okay with eating dogs, regardless of how you feel about that. This is still America. This is somewhere USA, America. I would still think it's against the law to eat animals like that. But
Yes, I mean especially just killing them and then eating them. Yeah, like that.
yes, there is a shot in the movie where Chucky is doing, his urination, and I don't know how to phrase this correctly, but either way, it's shot like a horror movie because there's just all these sharp weapons behind him, and I'm like, are we Final Destination in this kid? That would be pretty great.
Yes, and speaking of the urination, there's a lot of weird stuff with this kid. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I do think potentially someone needs to check the hard drives of whoever wrote and directed this.
Well, we don't want to imply anything with Jim Strain or Matthew Robbins. But I mean, again,
No.
one of the early scenes of this movie is seeing this little kid just naked. I mean,
Naked.
they cover him up with shots, but like, it's implied that
Yes.
he's naked. And again, you got the foot fetish family, and there's still a little bit more, still some innuendo. We'll get there. But so afterwards, the cops arrest Lenny and Eli. Bingo is first initially labeled as a hero, and he goes with the hostage family. He's taken over as their pet. But then he gets subpoenaed, and we have probably one of the wildest court hearings I've ever seen in fiction, where the defense uses him, or not the defense, my apologies, the prosecution uses Bingo as the key witness in getting Lenny and Eli to prison. But then we have the greatest prosecutor in the history of cinema, where not only does he label Bingo as the mastermind of these two bumbling henchmen, he's able to get Bingo into human jail, not animal jail, or even get put down. He is thrown in the slammer with the rest of the human population.
OJ's lawyer or something. That guy's good.
Oh my god, yeah, OJ wish he had this. Well, I guess Johnny Cochran didn't get him out, so he needed this lawyer for the Vegas stuff he did that eventually got him into prison. But
I don't know anything about that.
well, years later, we don't need. It's fine. He got away with it. It's fine.
We're not talking about OJ. We're talking about Bingo.
We're talking. Yes, there is another dog movie with OJ. Maybe we'll watch and/or cover that down the road. But of course there is. But we watch Bingo in prison. He makes friends with, I believe his name is Wayne Robinson. Again, it's a little hard to tell some character names because they're not addressed, but he is called Four Eyes in the credits, and this is another character actor. He's in he is Mike Hamar in The Red Green Show, if you're familiar with that comedy. I know there's probably a ton of people that love The Red Green Show.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's some Canadian show. I've never seen it. It's like the Trailer Park Boys. It's a show that I hear is really good, but I've never seen a single frame of it. But he's also in the movie Cubed. He's in Wrong Turn. It appears he is no longer with us. He passed away in 2011, R.I.P. But he befriends Bingo because they're cellmates together. So while Bingo slowly is also trying to escape through this prison, we have a pretty good sequence, I think, from start to finish, where this dude, Four Eyes, and Bingo are in the laundromat, and Four Eyes goes to Lenny, who is a foot taller than him. So he goes up to Eli because they're eye to eye. I thought that was a good joke. And then while trying to read a letter from Chucky to Bingo, Lenny and Eli steal the letter. So Four Eyes gets into what can arguably be is a Crocodile Dundee machete fight with these two.
Well, yes, because they have a joke where I think the really tall guy, he pulls out a knife, and it's just like a pretty standard knife.
Yes.
And then his friend pulls out an even bigger knife, and then no, sorry, Four Eyes pulls out an even bigger knife, which is like a giant machete, and then the other thief or whatever his name is, who are you saying, Eli or what?
Eli, yeah, I think.
Yeah, he pulls out an even bigger machete. So, and how they're smuggling this in prison, I don't know.
No, yes, no. If you watch enough videos on YouTube and Reddit, it's like, oh, anything, they can make anything into a weapon, just like surviving edge weapons. What weapons do you see on frame? And you just show Bingo's paws or whatever. But there's a little scuffle. Everything's all good. Lenny and Eli vow that they're essentially going to murder this dog. We don't know when, but doesn't matter because Bingo, along with Four Eyes, escapes from the prison. And not really much else. We may or may not see Four Eyes later in the movie. Spoiler alert. But we get to a little montage where Bingo continues his chase to find Chucky via urine. Again, talking about some fetishes going on. Just a lot of urine play in this movie. Just a little bit too much for me. But we're talking about deleted scenes earlier. Probably the biggest dirty deleted scene cut in this entire movie happens where we get I don't know the actress's name because her scene is butchered so badly. I don't know this character's name. I don't know what her purpose is other than Bingo goes into the hotel where we see earlier the family's at, that we think Chucky is still there. He's not. He moved on. But we have this lady in like 1940s style lingerie. You can see like a heart-shaped bed in the background, and she is holding a remote control. Now, Trevor, when we saw this originally, and I guess now for the second time that we watched this for this podcast, what on earth do you think this lady was doing?
Yeah, and it's like a comically large like remote control. It has it's like what you would see in a nuclear submarine to launch missiles. It's like a giant green button and a giant red button. And I can only assume it's hooked up to the bed of this hotel where some poor guy is being strapped down and held to it. And I don't know what that could go to.
Again, we talked about this while watching the movie again. We want the rated R cut. There is some freaky stuff happening in this movie
because it's a really short scene, and it's literally like probably 15 seconds, and it just cuts out of nowhere, and I feel like the scene went on for like 45 more seconds where Bingo like goes into the hotel and there's something weird going on, but we'll never know.
We will never know because famously, which we'll have more than likely on the podcast cover, unless Trevor changes his mind. That was a whole discussion before we hit record. But I do have the VHS tape of Bingo currently in my possession, so maybe there's more to this scene. I very much doubt TriStar wasted their time and put deleted scenes into the DVD release, which does exist, but
and a Blu-ray.
And a Blu-ray. So TriStar wasted a ton of money converting this to Blu-ray for whatever reason. I'm waiting for the 4K release. I'll say that much.
Waiting for that Criterion release.
Oh God, I wish Criterion did this movie. There's so many movies I wish Criterion would do that we've covered, but maybe down the road. But so anyway, we get a little weird dream sequence after the fact where we think Bingo's now like in the hospital, like dehydrated or whatever. Ends up being Chucky's like nightmare, which I love the line that we both laughed at where she's like, all right, no more chainsaw movies for you. It's like,
well, she specifically says no more chainsaw videos before bed, which I really don't know what that could mean, because is she talking about movies, or is she talking about like him watching chainsaw like ISIS beheadings on like Live Leak or something?
This is 91. A, I don't think they existed yet. B, I don't think Live Leak existed yet. We were still on message boards in 91 if anybody had a computer, so that does remind me of a story where I was in like 9th grade, and I think somebody in computer class, remember that folks, at a certain age we had computer classes to learn how to type and use a keyboard. Yes. And that never stuck with me. I still type like I'm a Neanderthal. I just use 2 fingers when I type everything down.
Wait, you're a finger pecker?
Yes, I'm a finger pecker. That's what the ladies call me, the pecker.
I worked next to you for 2 years. And I never noticed that.
But I never noticed what? You're the prim and proper. Yes, put ASDF and HJKL, and then I'm going to use the
thumbs on F and K and everything else. And
I'm like, I do not have the motor sensations to do this. I'm just going to type one finger at a time. And you know what? You know what's great about that, Trevor? It didn't matter. I still passed computer class without them knowing.
You typed like 3 words a minute.
I was so busy playing the Oregon Trail, I wasn't doing the actual assignments during those computer classes.
That's very true.
But hey, just back to the chainsaw videos. Cindy Williams must be the greatest mom ever, because my mom certainly wouldn't let me watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre at like 8 or 9 years old, wherever this kid is.
Yeah, it's interesting that she's aware that her son is watching chainsaw videos, but then she also, there's a line too that she knows that he has been urinating all across the country in order to attract bingo. So she's very aware of everything that's going on, but she doesn't try to stop it at all.
See, yes and no. They're aware that he keeps peeing, but they're not aware that's what he's actually doing. Hell, actually,
I'm pretty sure there's a line where she's like, I know you're trying to get that damn dog to follow us.
Ah, man, I must have missed that, because I know the dad...
She's aware of this.
The dad isn't aware. The dad's like, oh, I raised a son with the bladder...
The dad's a bumbling idiot. He doesn't care about his son.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I raised my son to have the bladder of a walnut.
Well, and speaking of the dad, because I don't think we brought it up either, at the very beginning, where the son he's been missing for hours, and the mom's like, oh, should we, call the cops or something? And he's just like, nah, it'll build character if he stays out there, and they literally time it to the second, where it's like, if he's not back by 7:43 a.m., which is like the exact second when it's considered sunset, then they call the police.
Yes, or sunrise in this case. They waited all night. They waited all night. I think nowadays you're a missing person after 48 hours. I only know that because I've seen so many episodes of the first 48. But understandably, the mom is upset because he's been gone all night. And while, again, because this is a fetish movie, the dad is working on his bunion, so we see him going to town on his foot. Yeah, like you said, he waits till the very second where I believe it's 12 hours since missing, and then he's going to call the cops.
So he clearly does not really value his son's safety or care what he's doing.
No, which again, we will find out in a little bit as we get closer to the third. Actually, I guess we are in the third act now, because the family... So Bingo, again, scenes deleted. This sex worker, whoever she is, helps Bingo get on a bus to Green Bay, because that's where the dad got traded. And both Bingo and Eli and Lenny, scenes deleted. We don't know how they got out, whether through other means.
I think just like good behavior, maybe. They got out after like 2 days.
Or they macheted themselves. Maybe there's an Old Boy sequence where they machete themselves in one-shot style with the police officers in the jail cell.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that.
Would have loved to seen that. I don't think Kurt Fuller has the stamina for that, considering his his body. But stranger things have happened in movies. But everybody's converged on to Green Bay. The dad actually is not in Green Bay. He's in Detroit right now because his team is facing the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, like one of their mortal enemies because they're division rivals. So it's a very big game for this dad. He's got to do well, otherwise he'll probably get traded for the 20th time, which they keep implying in this movie. But so Eli and Lenny are trying to find Bingo. They put flyers around the city of Green Bay saying they're trying to find Bingo for a reward. Bingo is now a dishwasher at some random kitchen where he's just licking up plates, and this owner's more than happy.
Disgusting.
So if this was if Yelp existed at this time, we would give that 1 star.
No, there's enough dog freaks out there who would probably find that as a positive thing. They would love it if a dog just cleaned their plate for them.
Look, I know the Mythbusters figured out that a dog's mouth is more sanitized than a toilet seat.
That's not true. I don't care what they say.
But yes, as we see a couple times in this movie where the kid Chucky eats like a food, like a sandwich, and then like the Bingo takes a bite, and I'm like, absolutely not. I am not sharing germs or whatever. Dude, again, I am the dog person of this group, but I know dogs lick themselves. They'll eat their own shit. They eat bugs. Yeah. They sniff butts. They do God knows what else that we don't see them do, by the way. So it's like, when a dog does lick me in the face, if I'm ever near a dog and I'm petting them and all that, it's like I immediately go to the bathroom and wipe my face because I do not need that.
No, even when they like lick my hand, I just hate it so much.
You just recoil in terror like a cat, essentially, when it comes to dogs.
Yes. Cats are great. They're not disgusting creatures.
Cats will just murder you with its claws. Dogs don't do that.
I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Cats are just passive-aggressive. Dogs are just so friendly.
Cats don't hide what they are, but dogs, they hide what they are. They hide their true nature.
Well, as I've mentioned during the watch of this movie, it's like, remember, I want to focus on everybody here. Thousands of years ago, dogs were not poodles or corgis or any types of like hundreds of breeds we have now. It was just a wolf, and that wolf tried to eat your face. We managed. Not only did we kill the woolly mammoths, we've trained the dogs through evolution to just be the man's best friend that they are today.
And they never lost those genes. You know how I know? Because they've bitten me once in the lip and bit my ear off like Mike Tyson. Okay, I know what their true nature is. I know what they're capable of.
You know what they're capable of. Sadly, you did not get into a boxing match with this dog that did it to your ear.
No, and I would have. I would love to fight Bingo.
I would love to fight. You like 1920s old style boxing. You know, you're doing like the uppercut stance. Yes.
Yeah.
You got the mustache going, the covered lip incident that just happened.
My giant comb over.
Yeah, you're like the guy in like Boardwalk Empire who's got like the half face. He's got like the fake plastic. That's what you got going.
Yeah.
But all right, so both Lenny.
What else is left?
We got like 20 minutes left. We're almost done. We're almost done recapping this movie. A lot, as you can't tell, guys, we've covered this movie for about 45 minutes. A lot has happened, and we still got 20 minutes left. But
there's still so much left.
But again, Lenny and Eli realizes that Bingo is in Green Bay. Now Chucky knows because he sees the flyer, because Bingo is not a common name in this universe. You know, it could just be any dog named that. No, this is the Bingo, the only Bingo in the entire existence of America. But Lenny and Eli get a tip. They get Bingo. They try to kidnap him, but Chucky saves the day. And what I can only describe is he confronts him in an alleyway from the scene of They Live or Big Trouble in Little China. You're just expecting some huge fight to happen, but instead, Lenny and Eli, again, totally not like Home Alone. This is not Home Alone whatsoever. They kidnap the kid, and then Bingo has to try and go find him. He chases after him. But Lenny and Eli realizes that Chucky is the son of Hal, the famous pro kicker now for the Green Bay Packers. So they do a ransom with the parents. Or in this case, the mom initially. Where it's like, if your husband doesn't miss all these kicks, we're going to kill your kid. This is a children's movie, and we're going to stab your kid to death.
Yes, we'll blow him up with a bomb.
Well, yes. They don't say bomb first, I don't think, but eventually we do see Lenny start going away like a Taliban fighter, just make his own bomb. Suicide vest, almost.
You did make an interesting point where the kid is surprisingly very proud of his dad for being this kicker, because normally, in these types of movies, you see like the dad or the kid like just hates their dad and what they do, and they don't care about them. But in this case, no, he's actually pretty proud of his father.
I mean,
even if it's kind of ruining his life from having to travel.
Yes, because it's implied in dialogue that this dad has been traded before. So Colorado wasn't even their first like state that we meet them in. But yes, it's very refreshing to see like families actually love each other. Well, I should refresh that. Wow. The son respects and loves his dad to a point, like any little kid would. But just like Bingo, everybody hates this kid. Everybody hates this kid.
It's very one-sided relationships here.
It's like you're just waiting for the scene where Hal's talking to Cindy Williams. It's like, I didn't tell you to have this baby.
Yeah, like I'm very surprised that frankly they even give a shit.
I didn't realize our footsie play would somehow get you pregnant.
I never wanted this child.
That's how it works in this universe. We don't do the normal means of sex. It's all toe play in this universe.
He puts a condom over his feet.
Yeah, just like the Naked Gun where they're wearing the body condom.
Yes.
But so eventually the mom figures out, oh, this is for real. She somehow, I guess maybe she's the wife, so she can get a fast track. But again, this is Green Bay, Wisconsin. She's in. She's able to get a patch into the sidelines of the Ford Field, which is the Lions Stadium. Still is at this point in 2025 as we record this, and she explains to Hal that he has to keep missing kicks, otherwise they're gonna blow up the kid. But you're talking about like how the dad doesn't really care. For a second, it seems like the dad cares because he's like, "Oh my god, well,
Yes.
what's gonna happen? We gotta do something. Call the cops." But like, eventually, his teammates just grab him, and he just just forgets about it. So it's like, does this dad actually care about his kid or not? I don't know. It's not really figured out in this movie.
No, and there's even that line where he's talking to the coach where he's like, "What's more important, family or football?" And he's like, "Football, of course." So, yeah, I don't think he even really gives a shit anymore.
Yeah, goddamn right. This is a man's game. We don't talk about our kids. Well, actually, we indoctrinate our kids to get CTE at 8 years old. Thank you very much.
How many games are really decided by the kicker?
A decent amount. I think it happens a lot more nowadays because everything is so micromanaged and everybody is just like a huge like athlete that like yeah, if it's a close game, like so basically like a little fast track, the last kick the dad has to make is like a 32 yarder, which I think even for 1991 that's supposed to be an easy kick even if he's not intentionally missing it. But like these days, if you watch a football game, these kickers are kicking like 65-yard field goals. It's like they almost can kick end to end. It's like there's no drama anymore, usually nowadays, when it comes to like field goal kickers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a football guy at all, and yet even I could tell, like, 32 yards, that seems pretty easy.
No, we had to pause the movie and I had to explain the entire, up to that point, 90-year or 75-year history of the National Football League. So it took a little time to watch this movie, the third go around.
Yeah. But I appreciate the history lesson.
Yeah, you had to learn about the AFC NFC merger. You had to learn about John Madden. You had to learn about Brett Favre. You had to learn about well, Tom Brady didn't exist yet, so there's no 80 for Brady. So no 80 for Brady exists in this universe yet. We determined that for Bingo Watch.
Yeah, and I retained all of it. I know everything now.
Yes, we'll do a quiz. You're not going to hear this, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't have much time left. But I will do a pop quiz for him at the end of this podcast if he retained everything. But so while the dad is missing the field goals, Bingo, of course, smartest dog ever. He finds he finds Chucky originally, and that's how the mom realizes everything's legit because he keeps bringing Chucky's like clothes to the mom. But Bingo, with the help of Chucky, is trying to get him out because he's tied up to a post. But the Eli and Lenny eventually realize Bingo is around. See, this is where you finally like get redemption because they do like a horror movie shot where they pan the camera up with a flashlight and Bingo is just with big old chompers is ready to just like go to town on these two.
Yeah, which I wonder how they train a dog to appear vicious like that. Like, what are they doing to it? What are they showing it to make it, like, bare its teeth like that?
Maybe, like, a post office worker? What's a stereotype that we could do here where that makes sense?
A fire hydrant.
Fire hydrant. We know it, Bingo
cat.
can... maybe a cat, actually. That could be it. We know Bingo can retain, like, thoughts because he... or he has feelings because we see him with a centerfold of a dog, and that means he's horny, of course. So
yes, well, and he sees the kid with another dog who he's just kind of like walking to like for money or something, and Bingo sees the kid with another dog and he gets depressed. So clearly, yes, Bingo is highly cognitively advanced.
Yes, this is
at this point. So
like I think at this point before Bingo, Lassie was the smartest dog ever put in print of any fictional kind, but I think Bingo tops the case. I think this is the smartest dog we've ever seen in our lives.
Bingo is like Caesar from Planet of the Apes.
Yes. No! Wolf.
No!
I dude, if this was a trilogy, I mean, I'm so disappointed this was a one and done movie, which we'll get to in a minute why it might not have been, but God, I would have loved a trilogy of Bingo movies.
Yes, Bingo just keeps getting smarter and smarter.
But eventually, through comical means, especially through nut torture, because Bingo just chomps Eli's nuts to the point where we hear bones crack, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure there's no bones in the testicle
ball
penis.
bones.
No, the ball bone is not connected to the leg bone. That doesn't exist. But I will say before we go further, because again we're just dragging this podcast out. When we do more of these episodes, this movie in particular starts the trend, I believe, of abandoned factories. Every movie we watch, I feel like there's always a scene with an abandoned factory. It's almost no failure that we will see at least once, no matter what type of movie we watch.
Yes, because there's plenty of cities in the world that have failed manufacturing.
We could talk about it 2025, but we won't get into that. But yes, infrastructure is just dead. The economy's dead. Everything's just dead in this country
just
right
sitting
now.
on a computer as their job nowadays.
And it's not just an American thing, because as we figured out through this, your second viewing, my third viewing, this was filmed entirely in Vancouver, Canada. So, like, this is not even Green Bay and or Denver this entire time, which is just like, man, even the Canadians are having a hard time with their economic structures. But, so eventually Lenny, even though Eli's balls, I imagine, is just puddle on the ground, just full of viscera. Like, I can't imagine how he's walking right now. But they're able to overpower...
Speaking of a higher register.
He should. He actually should have. I don't think he does, which... failed joke there. But they eventually do get a hold of Bingo. He's tied up for a little bit with Chucky. So Lenny is the smartest engineer in the history of the planet, because he's able to wire these bombs to go off at the end of the game if they don't get what they want. But you were confused at first because you're like, well, wait a minute. That means he's got to like figure in commercial breaks, timeouts, and all that. But I missed this the first time too. He has a little clicker. So when it's on a commercial break, he just clicks it and the timer goes down. So at least Jim Strand was smart enough to figure out, hey, that logically doesn't make any sense, but you know, that's why this is a tight screenplay. Ignore all the deleted scene references I just mentioned. This is a tight screenplay, a tight 90.
And there's, I mean, honestly though, in a way, because there are plenty of setups and payoffs in this, that, like, honestly, from a structural standpoint, and I mean, it really keeps it going. It's constantly introducing new ideas at the audience. Like, is that, you know, I think, you know, you could probably, you know, format a whole class around this, and I think this screenplay should be studied.
So this is like, what is that? Like the story of a hero. Instead of that, we just do the story of Bingo.
Yeah, not save the cat, save the bingo.
Yes, I always felt like, speaking of like Pee-wee's Great Adventure, I always felt like that was the best script ever, because like it's a tight 90, so many callbacks, so many good jokes, it's just tight writing. Here, I would have loved to have been in a film class back in college and just discuss like how Bingo works as a narrative.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know there's some jerk on Reddit or whatever is just doing like a whole like 8-paragraph sync piece of why Bingo is the greatest movie ever made. Which,
oh, absolutely, and I think we should be writing that.
And I think we need to dox you. What is your Reddit account right now? Certainly not Bingo Lover 6969.
No, that's you. That's my brother.
Oh. Well, two things are going on at the same time. Bingo escapes from his rope like tying up, and when you know it, Lenny accidentally like starts the factory on fire. He doesn't know this because
a cigarette away.
Yeah, cigar, but they don't know this because they're about being chased by the cops with Cindy Williams and the older brother tailing. But I'll try and split this up into two things real fast. So Bingo gets out. He's got to ring the fire alarm, which can you believe it? Just like in the beginning of the movie, it's you got to clear a ring of fire, and he's got to jump through it in order to get to that.
There's a wooden ramp that leads to this like it looks like a window frame or something, where it's just fire is coming up right below it, and then on the other side is this ledge, and it's just like the circus act that he's been training so hard for at the beginning.
Yes, just like you said, this is a tight script, a bunch of callbacks. It works. Just ignore that you completely forget about that, because that was the first 2 minutes of the movie, and that's never addressed again throughout the movie.
We were talking about this, where there needed to be one other scene in the middle somewhere that they kind of call back to this whole fire trick again. That probably would have helped remember it by the time it got to the end. Yeah,
like maybe us adults can remember it, but if this is for kids, ? Maybe for their small brains they should probably remember that plot point from the beginning of the movie. But Bingo does save the day. He's able to conquer his fears, jump through the fire, and get the alarm off. So the firefighters are on their way. Subsequent to that, at the exact same time, Lenny and Eli are getting chased by the cops. They get cornered. They claim that they're going to blow the building up, but in a hilarious sense, which I actually think still rings true to life to this day, the cops are willing to let Hal actually make the field goal, risking Chucky's life just because they put some money on this game. So for like the third or fourth time again, all cops are bad. That is the message of Bingo.
This is wonderful ACAB writing here.
Jim Strand knew what was up. He was a real one back in 1991.
No, we know he does not back the blue.
But again, like, these cops have AR-15s, they have sniper rifles. They are willing to let these guys die tonight, even though they know a kid's in mortal danger. But
a kid and a dog is about to be blown up.
Yes. So eventually, they're able to subdue Lenny and Chucky. Or not Chucky. They didn't shoot the kid. This is not Final Destination. The kid didn't accidentally
This
get
isn't
shot.
the end of Mac and Me where the kid gets shot.
No, I wish. Again, I'll say this: if we keep going through movies where this happens, if a kid dies in a movie, that's an extra star. I'm going to give you an extra star in this movie if you have the balls to do that.
In private, I co-sign that. In public, I want to say I do not condone child murder, but off the record, yes.
This kid was a little shit boy. He deserved. I mean, he almost drowned. So again, almost an extra star there. Could have been a whole different movie if that happened. So in a great shot, while he's being held back by Cindy Williams, the cop with the sniper rifle shoots the device out of Lenny's hand, but it goes button side down. So at the same time, Bingo grabs a suitcase with the bomb. He, kind of like the Dark Knight Rises, I know where you got this, Christopher Nolan, he goes to the pier, as far away from humans as possible, and then a huge fireball, which we were wanting earlier in the movie, shows up, and you just think Bingo's just crispy. He's just done for.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's exactly like the end when he's in the bat. What is it? The bat plane or whatever.
Yeah,
he's throwing the nuke in the river.
The bat plane with the bat nuke. I don't know. That movie.
Yeah, whatever that is.
That is up there with Tenet as the weakest of the Nolan movies he's ever done.
Yes.
I could get into arguments with other friends about that for days.
But this tiny little suitcase bomb
goes off like a nuke. Like this is like threads. Like this thing goes up.
Yeah, it's like an explosion you'd use to demolish a building or something.
And there's a great shot of Cindy Williams being horrified. It's presumably she can see it in the distance how big the explosion is. And like, yeah, if I'm in her situation, I just thought my son.
I don't blame her one bit.
My favorite. Well, I don't know. Again, he's not the favorite one, so actually she should really be indifferent to this kid dying. Because clearly Chicky is the favorite one.
And the dad's probably just celebrating his field goal.
Yes, he's just celebrating. He has no idea. He's all the way in Detroit. That's
he doesn't know.
That's a couple hundred miles away. Which again, I love earlier when the cop just like the wife, the cop tells Hal to just kick the field goal. Who cares? It's like, so a local Green Bay cop is able to get into the sideline phones of the Detroit Lions stadium?
Yes, evidently their phone is just public knowledge. Anyone knows.
Yeah, apparently, hey, pre 9/11, we could do whatever we want. That's what cinema taught us before 2001.
Everything was ruined with 9/11.
But again, scenes deleted. Chucky's okay. He wakes up in the hospital, and then somehow, we don't know how, we never see how this happens. Bingo's just okay. He just hurt his legs, but we don't know how he hurt his legs. He's just also in the hospital healing up from the explosion.
Yeah, there's no way he could have outrun that explosion.
No, but in like an action movie, you'd think we would have had that shot, slow motion of him jumping away from. But I guess TriStar didn't have the budget for that. They just had enough napalm to blow up this entire facility. Just not.
You know what they should have done. Well, I was gonna say, you have the shot of Chucky crying, "Oh, Bingo's dead," and then, well, I guess the reason why this probably wouldn't work is because we've already shown him jumping through fire. But I was gonna say you could have it so that he jumps through fire, after the explosion, and proves like, oh, he's perfectly fine. But
you just want the scene from Independence Day where the dog escapes from the huge explosion at the very last second.
Yes, exactly.
Which logistically, that scene makes no sense because that bridge is not like made of lead. That entire structure should have vaporized just like that underpass. But that's a different movie for another
You
day.
gotta save the dog. Can't let it die.
No, absolutely not. No, even if it's a world-ending alien invasion, that one dog needs to live.
Bingo's begins with dog death.
The president's wife needs to die in that scene, but not the dog. We have priorities. God damn it. But yes, so Chucky gets wheeled to Bingo, and then kind of, I mentioned it earlier, kind of like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Everybody in the movie is back. All the dogs from Duke's.
Yes.
Duke and his wife is there. They're not arrested. They're also okay from being crashed in the truck. You got the convicts. They're definitely not from Home Alone. You got the Four Eyes, the guy that escaped with Bingo. I love that there's I would assume the jailhouse police are with the two bad guys, but they don't recognize Four Eyes, who Lord knows what he went to prison for. I assume it's a Steve Buscemi thing, like from Armageddon. He just did something really, really terrible, but we're just not going to talk about it.
He was going to get shanked in prison for what he did.
I mean, that dude had a fucking machete. I don't know. I think he's more hard than he lets on.
They even had kind of a joke when Bingo goes into the cell and he says, like, "This must be my lucky day," which, I mean, maybe he's just excited to have a dog as a roommate, but he kind of... sexual overtone.
They do that. I totally forgot. Yeah, they do that whole scene where he's going down like the Green Mile or whatever, and just all these prisoners are like, "Yeah, fresh meat, looking good, puppy." And it's like, are they gonna fuck this dog?
Are they gonna fuck this dog? Oh my god! I mean, I guess there's nothing else to fuck in there.
No, there is, but that's not the kind of movie. No, that's the R cut that, again, the MPA must have watched, and they're like, we can't show this. We can't have NC-17 here, fellas. This is not a Serbian film. This is Bingo. But so everybody's there again from the movie that you all know and love, all the characters, and Chucky essentially asks Hal if they can keep him. You would think they would, because as you mentioned as we're watching, like, he saved his son from blowing up. You'd think that would be enough, but nope, everybody pretty much guilts Hal into saying yes, into keeping the dog. But we have the great, kind of like Super Mario Brothers, you're not going to believe this. What is the sequel setup, Trevor, for a potential Bingo 2?
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about. I just remember the neutering joke.
Well, that's what I'm referring to. Hal's like, okay.
Oh, that's the sequel setup?
That is the sequel setup, essentially.
He's got to get his balls back?
Hal is basically like, all right, you can keep him, but he's got to get spayed first. And then, comically, Bingo just looks at the audience and is like, what the fuck? And then, like,
I'm surprised he didn't like put his paws over his eyes.
We should have had that, but then we do Looney Tunes Iris out while he looks scared that he's about to lose his manhood.
Yes, it's an incredible last frame.
But I believe, if the IMDb trivia is to be believed, which it's totally not, there was supposed to be a sequel set up where we do see... we don't watch it. We don't see it in graphic detail, but we see Bingo get spayed, and I guess it's a love story. Sort of, maybe they keep going with that Cocker Spaniel he kind of forcefully got drunk so he could have sex with? ?
Well... I would imagine, because, you could easily, well, not if he gets neutered, but you could do, like, an Air Buddy situation where Bingo has kids, and those kids get on their own wacky adventures.
Dude, Matthew Robbins, yeah, he missed the boat, because that dude who did Air Bud, as we discovered when we watched the second movie, it's like...
That crazy guy.
He's crazy. Hey, crazy like a rich man, because that dude is loaded. He did all those Air Bud movies. He did all the Air Buddies movies, and then he did like all these monkey movies as well. It's like,
yes,
don't worry about that dude. He had a production studio. It might have burned down to the ground due to these fires, but he has a studio in Malibu. He has like his own production company that's all focused on Air Bud. It's like, don't worry about it. That guy has been coasting for like 35 years.
Empire.
An entire empire. I wish for that. I'm not saying this podcast is going to reach those heights, but man, I want to be lazy enough to do a movie about a dog playing basketball, and that somehow makes me a multi-millionaire that lives in Malibu.
Well, we would love to do the sequel to Bingo.
Yes.
I think it's time. 90s nostalgia is at an all-time high right now.
Bingo. Again, when we do more of this, I don't know if we're gonna do like frame by frame. We're not gonna do scene by scene, but like this was a crazy movie. Even though people have talked about it, as we just mentioned, I feel like it's still a forgotten movie. I don't think a lot of people remember this movie when it came out in 1991. But like,
And yeah, there's no. This was direct to video, right? There's no box
no,
office.
no, I think
Info.
I believe this came out in theaters. I can double
What was
check.
their box office info?
Well, it's a TriStar movie. TriStar, I don't think we're doing direct to VHS like that. They would, even if it's a god awful movie, which I'm not saying this is, but like when it's a sub movie, like they put it in theaters. But if it's to be believed, the budget was $10 million. So I imagine most of that went to Bingo and the napalm explosion at the end of the movie.
Yes.
And then the box office. Trevor, can you guess how much movie this made in 1991?
Oh man, I mean, okay, 10 million for the budget. I'm gonna say they made a tiny profit of 15 million.
Oh, you're a little bit lower.
12?
No, lower than that.
7?
A little higher.
Jesus Christ, 8?
$8.5 million.
Oh my god. Okay, so they didn't make their budget back.
No, didn't make their budget back, did not do well. I will say, looking over what it was up against. Now, you got to remember, folks, in 1991, things are a little different. We're getting there with the big box office draws and all that, and cinema's not dead yet, so people do go to the movies, so movies stay longer in theaters, but
There was no
in
Netflix yet.
in August 1991, this movie was up against the likes of Hot Shots, Charlie Sheen, the Jim Abrams classic comedy movie. You got a personal favorite of mine, I believe we watched this together, Trevor, Body Parts, the Jeff Fahey movie about a serial killer's body parts going on innocent people.
There's a lot of overlap audience between Bingo and Body Parts.
Yes, a lot. There's Doc Hollywood, which is a Michael J. Fox movie. I don't know if that's considered a good movie, but I'm pretty sure that did well enough for the time, so that probably heard... actually, no. Actually, no, it did. It made like $54 million out of a $20 million budget, so that was a big hit for the time. And then it was up against another movie, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It's another dog movie. You know it. Rover Dangerfield, the Rodney Dangerfield animated movie. Man, that movie sucks. I hate that movie so much. Hate that movie. And then you got it came out on August 9th, 1991. It was up against a John Candy movie called Delirious. I've never seen it. I don't know much about it. But unfortunately, I think this is the movie that killed Bingo's box office success. In 1991, August 9th, the classic Jean-Claude Van Damme double feature, Double Impact, came out the same day.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, all the kids loved that movie, I'm sure.
Now, spoiler alert to Double Impact. Unlike Bingo, Double Impact opens with a lady's head going out like a melon with a shotgun blast to the face. Sadly, that is not in Bingo. I think that would probably help the box office. Oh man, I guess I spoiled it a little bit, but like, whew, boy, that lady gets killed. Really bad.
Put it on the watch list.
But yeah, just looking at it, like Barton Fink comes out the week later. But yeah, I just maybe the market was just tired of dog movies because 101 Dalmatians came out re-released the month prior. Terminator 2. See, I think this is the biggest problem. Terminator 2 came out the month prior, so I think that was still in theaters as well. Bingo just sadly did not have a chance.
Kids were using their lunch money to go sneak into Terminator 2.
They just got to see. They just love Robert Patrick. That's the only reason why people went and go out and seen it.
But but the thing is, these kids probably would have loved Bingo if they were, open-minded.
Well, sadly, they're not. Maybe all these kids were also anti-dogs like you and just didn't bother watching it.
Yeah, there's a lot of dog attacks in 91, I think.
Yeah, there was that. Maybe some race riots, but mostly dog problems, I think, was 91.
Mostly the dog problems, yeah.
Mostly.
That's what most people remember that time for.
Yes, that's what the 90s were known for. Just dog attacks. But,
yeah, and I really wish, those, like, videos that keep getting recommended to me on YouTube for some reason, where it's, like, live reaction of Spider-Man 2 and Tobey Maguire said this line in theaters. Like, I wish that I could hear Because, like, I want to know if somebody saw this in 91. Like, did they get this movie? Did they understand? Were they laughing
I don't
at this?
know.
Did they get the
I've been trying to find reviews of Roger Ebert of this movie to see what he thinks, because he's usually a good gauge of what the normal audience would like. But like the coward, he didn't watch it ever, and he never reviewed it for the Chicago Sun-Times. So, oops.
Yeah, or maybe he did see it, but he wanted to keep it a secret.
Yes, it was a big shame. He hates the movie North, and he really hated Bingo. I'm just gonna go with that logic. I mean, prove me wrong, Roger. Why don't you write? Oh, you can't write in. Okay.
Well, but they'll clearly use his name to continue writing reviews and articles.
Yes, RogerEbert.com. He has not done a review for 12 years now. False advertising.
But you can see what his opinion is on the new Marvel movie. Okay, sure.
I would love. I want Roger Ebert to review Food Fight. Sadly, we never got that feature. Sausage Party. I'm just thinking of all the worst movies that have come out in the last 12 years that he's missed.
He would have loved Madam Web, honestly.
Oh man, Madam Web.
He would have found something to like about it.
Madam Web, for all you people that are still, I don't know how you're still listening to this. This podcast is almost an hour and a half now at this point, but like if you stuck through this, shit like Bingo and Madam Web, that's our bread and butter. That's the type of movies we like to watch.
You should be at your destination by now. There's no need for us to continue listening to us.
think the plane has landed. I think you mistakenly downloaded this over the other 9 billion bad movie podcasts. So.
Yeah, but you didn't want to pay for Wi-Fi, so you couldn't get another podcast.
Yes. It's like, man, this is not We Hate Movies. This is not the Flophouse.
Yeah, God. But you know, you're stuck with us. Maybe you like us more than them. Probably not, but you could.
Well, just like the title of this podcast, you were like, "What is this?" See what I did there? That's some good YouTube marketing that I'm going to have you edit to put a YouTube video up for.
It's a very catchy title. I'm glad we
Yes. Well, to be fair, you came up with it, because I believe this is the movie where you coined that phrase, because after 13 minutes of the circus performer, the dog dying through smoke inhalation, the sniper rifle, the bear attack, the kid dying in the river, we just didn't know what we were getting ourselves into watching this the first time.
We never know what we're watching.
Yeah, and that happens a lot, ladies and gentlemen. But I think we've covered everything for today. I think we've ran the bone dry on Bingo for tonight. For now.
Yes, we highly recommend it. Again, you can find it for free if you watch some Febreze ads on TV.
Or get uBlock Origin, and you'll never get ads. But you didn't hear that from me, because Tubi, we want you to sponsor us, so I would never recommend that.
Also, I want you to give Tubi money so that they can continue hosting.
You know what? Yes.
Like, they have like 200,000 movies on Tubi, and granted, they're all trash, but like they have everything.
For every good movie they have, there's 9 billion trash. When they did that Super Bowl spot talking about how great they are, they did not cover, Fred Williamson's The Messenger, which might be a movie down the road, potentially. Or Bingo, or God knows. Or what was the movie we just discovered while we were hooking this up for the podcast?
We discovered this dog movie called, like, Shiloh, but it looks, the poster makes it look and sound like the Holocaust movie
which is a movie I don't want to see as a dog person, so we'll just leave it at that. But I think you also had, like, Beach Bay Bimbos or something that popped up?
Beach Bay Bimbo Bash or something like that. God, they had it all.
They just got it all. And I don't know what our next movie will be, whenever that is. Could be 10 years from now. Could be never. I don't know. This could be one and done for all I know. But
this might never get released. You might not even be listening to this now.
Look, it's been a while since I've known to edit. So yes, I could accidentally wipe all of the audio tracks. And this was a complete waste of time. We'll find out when you listen to this down the road.
Please subscribe.
Yes, I will put in the description. I'm sure, well, you're probably listening to this through Apple or Spotify. If not, I don't know what illegal means. That's got to be a waste of time going through illegal means to download a podcast. But
whatever Russian server.
Actually, yes, Russian or North Korean. I'm sure the North Koreans will love this podcast.
We're getting, this is training some AI right
now. Absolutely. Everything's AI. So the moment, you're saying words right now and the phone is telling you what to buy next. So you got to consume Tubi after you watch or listen to this podcast. But yes, you will find this podcast through Apple, through Spotify, more than likely YouTube. I will have a channel up. I will have everything in the description below on any of the well, any of the descriptions of how you get means through this podcast. And like I said, not every podcast is going to be like this. This is our first episode, so it's a bit of an experiment of how we're going to do. I'm sure if we get 80 episodes deep, God help us, it'll probably be a way different format than it is now. But we will cover another movie down the road, probably, honestly, a month from now. We're not like hoity-toity celebrities that have time to kill. We have real jobs, so we can't all watch Bingo or the likes of it every single month.
No, we just watch 2 movies every single week because we have nothing else to do in our lives.
Shut up, Trevor. I'm a very popular man here in Los Angeles. And you're a very popular man in Ohio, or what rundown town you're
don't
in?
dox me.
Oh.
I don't, yeah, you don't know where I live.
No, we're both. No, you're like, I don't know, Poland or something. You're off the grid somewhere.
Yeah, I'm an expat.
You're
here.
you're an absolute expat that just, God darn it, you just want Cheetos again.
I'm not allowed to step foot in America ever again.
Yes, and you listeners, you can figure out why Trevor is not allowed in the States, and maybe you can fill it out on the YouTube comments or however you're going to get this podcast. But again, I think we're going to end it here. We'll inform you. We'll have social media platforms as well in the description, probably like Blue Sky, Instagram, things like that. That's a whole other thing that we're going to talk about off the air. But for now, this was Bingo 1991. You can find it on Tubi. We wish, both of us, thank you and wish you very much for downloading this and even giving this a listen. This was a long time coming. I'm very proud that we were able to do this, even if this could be a one and done. But my name is Michael, and you are?
I'm Trevor. Tip your waitress.
Tip your dogs that are licking the plates clean right now as you're listening to this.